What's up, homies? For the past week or so, I've been playing a lot of modded Minecraft, and recently we got into the Valhelsia 3 mod pack. It's been a really fun mod pack and I've enjoyed a lot of it, but when you have 189 mods or whatever the number is all at once, there's going to be a lot of mods that have a lot of information, and it's very easy to go through and progress through all the stuff. But there's going to be some mods like Industrial Foregoing that don't have a ton of information. There's a lot of stuff on the internet and in the book that you can make that gives you all the information that tells you how to do the early stuff, which is important. But then there's these things, the infinity tools in my backpack. As you can see, there's infinity hammer, infinity trident, infinity backpack, and then up here in the search thing you also see there's infinity drill, infinity saw. And so there's a lot of stuff, and you can make it pretty easily just by clicking on the tool. Let's see, we'll go hammer. The hammer's the first thing I made. You click on the hammer, it gives you the crafting ingredients. It tells you need to make this in a dissolution chamber. How do you do that? Well, you click the dissolution chamber, it shows you all this, and I'll explain a bunch of it, but the stuff that is actually pretty difficult to figure out is how to use the tools, how they work, just little stuff like that, like charging. A lot of that, when I googled it on the internet or looked through the mod book, all the information in the game or what I could find, there's some parts where there's nothing, and I had to figure it out myself. So that's why I'm making this video. I'm going to show you guys, if you're playing Valhelsia 3 and you're interested in the infinity tools, hopefully I can help you out with that. Also guys, if you don't mind, before I start showing you everything, please follow the links that I'm going to put on screen. It really helps me out. I love when you guys come through in the stream. I love talking to you guys. Also, please like the video, comment, whatever. Love all the interaction. And alright, let's get into it. So these are fluid extractors. Probably the first thing you're going to make. Point of them is they pull latex out of logs. If you see all this stuff, this is actually my power source. This is all from the mechanism mod. I'm not going to be going much into that because I really don't know much about it. One of my friends on this server did most of the mechanism stuff. But don't worry, you don't need all of this to do what I'm going to show you. There's also generators and power sources in Industrial Foregoing that you can use, and they work fine for the most part. How I made the fluid extractor is you just pull this up, go in the bottom right, you search fluid, find the fluid extractor right there. See, it says power is optional. Now I'll show you why it's optional and why you're going to still want power, and I'll show you the easiest way to get power early on. So yeah, right here it shows you what you need, and you make it on a regular crafting table. So this is very simple. And so pity machine frame, you just click it and it shows you how to make it. So once you have that, you can make this fluid extractor. Now the reason it says power is optional is because, see this progress bar? I'll break off the power and I'll show you the difference. Okay, so power is breaking off. Now look, see, it's a little slower. I also have this speed add-on. This is also part of Industrial Foregoing. I'll show you how to make that too. But if we take that out, it still works without power, but it's a lot slower. Without power, you're looking at ETA about 5 seconds. So it's 5 seconds per one, and to fill it, it's 1,000. MB is a millibucket, okay? So 1,000 millibuckets is a full bucket. So think about that, 5 seconds per one just to get 1 bucket of latex, and you really need 1 bucket to do anything. So you're definitely going to want to power this thing. So let me show you how the easy way to make power with Industrial Foregoing. Okay, so here we have a pitiful generator. Use just search pitiful. There's the generator. That's the crafting recipe. Another one of these pity machine frames. If I were you, I would just make, first thing you do, make 30 of these things, because you're going to need a lot of them for all of the machines you're going to build. Okay, so once you get the pitiful generator, if you have your extractors in a setup like this, like I do, you're going to want to place it in this block right here. But as you can see, it's kind of hard. I would have to build up and place it from above, something like that. But you can get it in there. But once you get it in, I'll just place it here so I can demonstrate. You're gonna have this little menu. This square right here is just for your power source. Now you can use a ton of things for this, basically anything that burns. My favorite thing when I was starting was just blocks of coal. Blocks of coal burn for a long time, and they give you a decent amount of power. And you can use a block of coal to power as many fluid extractors as you can connect to it. So you could even have another one on top. So once it's powered, it's going to be going a lot faster. I'm just going to reconnect this now. Let's get down here. There's the angle. Boom. There's a lot of ways to speed this process up, and you're definitely going to want to do that because you're going to need a lot of latex to make all the infinity tools. Alright, so now once you get latex, what you do with latex is also pretty simple. What you're going to need is a latex processing unit. That's what I have right here. So now you're going to have this screen right here. So you see I already have some tiny dry rubber. What you do here, actually let me go grab some latex and I'll just show you. Oh yeah. So once this thing's filled with latex, when you go in here and this latex bar is full, you just right click it with a bucket and you get the latex. Or you can also use the UI, place the bucket right here and it'll fill, drop right here. You got your bucket of latex. That's 1,000 millibuckets of latex. Alright, go back to your latex processing unit and you take the bucket, you click it there, or you can also just have the bucket in your hand and right click. They'll both put the latex in, and as you can see, it is now processing. Now this thing needs power to work. It's not power optional. So you're going to want that pitiful generator connected to this. It can be top, bottom. As long as it's next to this, it will power it. I'm powering it again with this reactor up here, but the generator also works. The other thing is, you're going to need to keep this filled with water. When I first started, I was just dumping buckets of water into it, same way as latex, just right clicking it with a bucket. Now once you get deeper into all the mods, you can have these fluid pipes that connect to a water source that I have on the top of my house, and it'll keep it infinitely filled with water. But you don't need all that, you can just use buckets. Okay, next step, take the tiny dry rubber, put it on a crafting bench and just make blocks out of it. It makes this dry rubber. And now you throw it into a furnace, and what that's going to give you is plastic. Plastic is like gold in Industrial Foregoing, so that's why you're going to want a lot of it. That's why you're going to want to have an elaborate fluid extractor setup just to get plastic rolling. Now the next thing you're going to make is this thing right here. This is a dissolution chamber. That's going to be your like upgraded Industrial Foregoing crafting bench. And this is the bench you're going to need to make the infinity tools. Alright, so how do you make the infinity tools? Again, same way. Go in here. Okay, the first thing I made was the hammer, so I'll show you the hammer. Click it. This is the most expensive thing so far. But again, Valhelsia 3, tons of ways to get stuff. Eventually you'll be rolling in diamonds and it won't be that big of a deal. Gold gears, that's also pretty simple. Just make this crafting recipe with gold. You can get a ton of them. Pink slime. Pink slime's a little more complicated. That's going to be a big part of this. I'll show you how to do it though, okay? And now the add-on range tier 12. Okay, so there's add-ons in Industrial Foregoing. For example, all these crafting units are going to have these purple blocks on the side. Those are the slots for the add-ons. I'll search add-on and show you what there is. So you got speed add-ons that makes the stuff faster, as you saw in my latex processing units. Now you also have efficiency, and you have the range add-ons. The range add-ons are what you're going to want for infinity tools, because these infinity tools have like AoE effects, but you can only use them if you have the range add-ons. So for the hammer, you're going to want the tier 12 range add-on, obviously. So you click it. This is the recipe. Not too bad, and it also only takes latex, which you already have latex processing units. And obviously it needs power. That's what your pitiful generator's for. If you're using the pitiful generator, one tip is it's going to take more power. Let me show you this. Okay, so the max power for this is 100k. This thing only holds 10k. That's pretty important to pay attention to, because making these infinity tools is going to take more than 10k. So it's not enough to have this full. You're going to want to have your pitiful generator filled higher than 10k, or else it'll restart and then you'll have to restart the process. It won't consume your stuff, but you will have to burn more fuel. Not that big of a deal, but it is something to note. So yeah, you just match what you saw here. Let me go back. You put the redstone in the same spots. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. But as you can see, it's all kind of the same. But yeah, range one. Put the emeralds here, glass here, redstone here, and once you put the latex in, this little bar is gonna start filling and you will have your add-on. Okay, yeah, so pink slime. This is gonna be a little complicated. Bear with me. Alright, so also in Industrial Foregoing, we have a thing called a mob slaughter factory. Right there. So you click that. Again, pretty simple craft. Another pity machine frame. Like I said, keep a lot of them. But once you have that, I'll show you how to use it. Okay, let me find my mob slaughter factory. Alright, I found it. Where I'm at right now is at the bottom of a sky trap. This is one way you can use it, and I'll explain the different ways. So, oh, that's perfect. Zombie just fell down. Do I have any power? Ah, okay. Well, if I had power, this zombie would just instantly die, and he would start giving me these two fluids. This fluid bar right here is for liquid meat, and this fluid bar right here is for pink slime. Now the problem with using the mob slaughter factory for pink slime at a sky trap is hostile mobs don't give you as much pink slime as non-hostile mobs. But for liquid meat, it's very good for liquid meat. I'll explain later what liquid meat's for, because it's going to go in your backpack and I'll tell you how that works, but right now we need pink slime. But if you already have like a sky trap or something like this, it does work for pink slime. You're just going to need to AFK it for longer. It's not that big of a deal. If you're already planning to AFK it, it'll work. But I will tell you, if you use this thing at like a cow farm or a chicken farm or something like that, you're going to get pink slime kinda instantly. Another pointer with this thing, it has the add-on slots. You can put a range add-on on this thing, and it will kill stuff in an area. Right now, I don't have any range add-ons, so I have a water system just pushing them into it. That also works fine, but if you have like a big area, it can be kind of annoying. Maybe the range add-on's worth for you, but I think pushing them into it with water is pretty simple as well. Okay, so once you have this slaughter factory filled up, there's one more finicky thing about this thing that took me forever to figure out, which is why I'm making this video for stuff like this, so you guys don't have to figure it out yourself. This thing, for some reason, when you put buckets here to get your fluid out, it prioritizes your liquid meat. The issue with that is, you would think once you get all the liquid meat out, now you can just start draining your pink slime. But if you have the setup like me, where it's constantly killing mobs, it's going to constantly keep refilling. The other problem is it doesn't go up in even increments. So if you have less than 1,000, which is how much a bucket holds of liquid meat, then you can't get it out because it won't fill the bucket partially, and then you'll never be able to access this pink slime. So you have a couple ways to get around that. One is somehow block off the mobs from dying. If you have like a cow farm or something, that's pretty easy, but like this sky trap is just constantly going. I would have to like put blocks above to make them stop falling into the range or something. And then once they're blocked off, then you'll have even increments and you'll be able to drain it to 0. But if somehow you're like stuck with like 100 liquid meat in here, what you're gonna have to do is make piping. In Valhelsia, there's tons of ways to get pipe. The ones I use are these, the fluid pipe from Immersive Engineering. It's not super easy to make because it's from the Create mod, these iron sheets. You have to make this smasher that smashes the iron, but it's not too bad. But once you have this pipe, you'll just be able to connect the pipe out of the back of this machine, and then you'll have to put it into a tank. Now to make a tank, it's also pretty simple. You search fluid, and right here, basic fluid tank, click it. That's a very easy craft. So you make the pipe, you make the tank, you pipe it out, and now it'll be empty. Sometimes it won't be automatic though, so what you do, if you're trying to pump out meat, you go here, and this tells you these check marks are which side of the thing you're interacting with. So you just figure out which side you have your pipe coming out of, and then you click, and you can have it push. Alright, I think that covers everything for the mob slaughter factory, so you should have a bucket of pink slime by now, so we can go back to my house. And you just take your bucket of pink slime, and you right click it into the dissolution chamber, or you can just pick it up and left click it in there. And then you should have an infinity hammer. Now when you make yours, it's not going to say 11 by 11, it's not going to be powered, it's not going to have fluid, it's not going to be enchanted, it's just going to be tier 4. Now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to need to charge it. Charging was the first problem I ran into where there wasn't a ton of information about it, especially if you're just looking through Industrial Foregoing. But I kind of lucked out because my buddy on this server was making the mechanism reactors, and once you have this reactor, you just drop the hammer in there and it starts charging. I don't have any fuel in here, so it's not charging for me, but that's how you charge it. Another way you can do it, which I didn't do, but I think it's going to be a lot slower, but it'll still work, is you make this infinity charger. So let's search it. Like I've been saying, a lot of this stuff is just click it, find what the next step is. The search tool is really helpful for most of this stuff. So you'll have your infinity charger, you have to power it. Let's see how much power that thing holds. You can store it up, and then whatever you have stored will instantly drop in there. Or you can just leave it in there, and if it's being powered, it will slowly charge up at the rate of whatever your generator is. So technically you can charge this thing with a pitiful generator, but that's going to be real slow. There's stronger generators in the Industrial Foregoing mod, but I would suggest what's worked for me is using the generators from Mechanism. Alright, so we should have a hammer made, we should have it charged to whatever tier. Honestly, even the lowest tiers are really good with this thing. But now I'll get to explaining the hammer itself. Once you have it charged, what you're going to want to do is shift click and then right click. That brings you into the Infinity Hammer's like menu, and you're going to be able to toggle between its AoE effect. That depends on the tier. You're going to want to keep charging on or off. I mean, you can turn it off if you want, but I just leave it on. Obviously it won't charge unless it's on. And then you're going to have a level of beheading, and that also depends on the tier you have it charged to. Now the second thing I haven't talked about at all yet, and I'll explain, is that for the beheading to work, you have to have biofuel inside of this thing. Now let me explain how to make biofuel. So right here is my bioreactor. You're gonna need water. You can fill it with water buckets, and you're gonna need power. You can use your pitiful generator. It works fine for this. Now in this slot is where you're gonna be putting your stuff that you break down to make biofuel. There's a lot of things you can use for this. So what you do, you just search biofuel. This is how I did it. You click this one, and then you go here. Now it shows you all the things that you can put into the bioreactor to melt into biofuel. So we got sweet berries, carrots, potatoes, netherwort, dyes, heads. See, heads are very good for biofuel, and that's what beheading is for. Now also in Valhelsia there's an enchantment called Vorpal, which will also give you heads. You can use that as well. Mushrooms and seeds. Okay, and my brother just teleported on me. Okay, got a little sidetracked there. My brother was showing me some astral sorcery stuff. Anyway, I think I left off on biofuel. So now I need to explain to you how to make it with those things. There's one more thing to it. So that list of things I showed you that work for biofuel, you want to have as many of those unique things as you can get. So see, I have carrots, seeds, 2 different types of seeds, saplings, and 3 different types of heads. The reason you want multiple of them is because that affects your efficiency. So I'll demonstrate. If I just put a 64 of seeds in there, you look at this and it's efficiency 11%. Now what happens when I put a different type of seeds in there? Efficiency goes to 22%. So you see what I'm getting at. If I dump all of this in there, efficiency shoots up to 77%. And now I'm getting a lot more biofuel. Okay, the reason this isn't filling, I just realized, is because I have a tank. You can put liquid tanks, like the one I showed you before, on either side of them, whichever, it doesn't matter. And it'll just go to the tank. So there, we have a ton of biofuel now. Not a ton, but you get my point. And what I like to do is once it uses up like 3 or 4 of your fuel, since the efficiency is dropping, you can just stop it. And now you have some high efficiency yielded biofuel. You can also just leave it in here and let it all drain out. Just keep in mind that it's going to be less efficient as you run out of each type of fuel. Okay, so now that you have your biofuel, to put the biofuel in the tool, you just right click the tank. Now it's in there. And as you can see, the little menu that pops up when you hover it shows your biofuel level. Now that you have biofuel in the hammer, I can show you guys how it works. Alright, these guys are close. Boom, see? Killed them both. And I got a skeleton head. So I'm not quite sure what the rates are, but also the beheading effect took place because of the biofuel. It's beheading 3. I don't really know how often it works, but it's pretty often. And the amazing thing about beheading is you can use this on wither skeletons to get wither skulls, and you can get a ton of wither skulls like this. It's not like the super rare rate of the wither skull drop, it's the rate of beheading, which as you just saw, I got one from that skeleton. You're gonna get a ton of wither skeleton skulls using this thing. It's really awesome. So now that I've covered how to make the hammer, a lot of it applies to the backpack and the trident as well. The only thing left I want to show you guys is the finicky stuff. So with the backpack, the first finicky thing is you can't even open it until you go into your control settings. I'll show you. Go into options, controls. You're going to scroll down until you find Industrial Foregoing's little thing. There, Industrial Foregoing, open Infinity Backpack. You can bind it to whatever you want. I use tilde because I'm really running out of binds for this game, but you can make it literally anything. Then once you have that bound, hit your bind. Now you have the Infinity Backpack UI. So again, with the backpack, you're going to charge it with the same ways I showed you. Probably you want to look up another video on how Mechanism works to get those reactors. I think that's probably going to be your best bet. And then it also takes biofuel, same way I showed you with the hammer. Just make it in your reactor, right click it with the backpack, you get biofuel. And then the other thing that's unique to the backpack is essence. Now what essence is, see if you hover this, these are like the effects for the backpack. You got charging, obviously you want that on, and you have item and XP auto pickup. The way item pickup works is you want to put, like, say you're mining and you know you're gonna get a shit ton of cobblestone. You put one cobblestone in a slot, and now when you're mining, it will automatically go into this slot. As you can see, the tier that you have your backpack charged increases the amount of items that will fit in a singular slot, and it goes all the way to 2 billion. Okay, you'll never fill that. This thing's crazy. So right now I have 4.8k cobblestone and I've only went mining with it once. Netherrack, 17.9k netherrack in one slot. That's just from one ancient debris farming session. A couple things to keep in mind with XP pickup. When you are picking up XP with your backpack, you're gonna get no XP in your bar, like your experience bar. Now that can affect a couple things, like if you're using mending, you're not gonna heal anything when this thing's on. But it's not a big deal because you can just toggle it. See, right now I have it on item pickup only, or I could have it on XP pickup only, or I can have it completely off, not picking up anything. Now I'm going to explain to you why it's not a problem if you have XP pickup on anyway. So it is gonna break mending. If you have mending stuff, you can't really use this at the same time, but with this mod I would suggest not even using mending, because there are ways to make your items invincible anyway. I'll show you an example. Like my diamond hammer right here, it's indestructible. I could explain how to make that indestructible, but it's pretty Googleable. Just leave in the comments if you guys want me to explain any more of the stuff that you've noticed that I haven't talked about, because I'm down to make more videos explaining the stuff I've learned from this mod if it's needed. If you do have XP pickup on, you're gonna start filling this little fluid tank for essence. See, I have 165k essence. Now this essence part is the thing that took me forever to figure out, because there's, like, as far as I can tell, there is almost no information on the internet or in Reddit or even in the Industrial Foregoing book that tells you what to do with this essence. So, okay, what is the skeleton doing? Die. So now let me show you, this was like really the motivator to make this whole video, was how hard it was to figure out how this freaking backpack worked. So right here, I have an enchantment factory. This is also a machine you make from Industrial Foregoing. It's basically an enchantment table, but instead of your XP bar, you use the essence in your backpack tank. See, essence. And to fill the essence, you just have your backpack in your hand and right click. Now it's full. So once it's full, you put an item in this slot, boom, level 30 enchantment. There's a bit of a downside to this, however, because you can't put like level 1 enchantments if you don't like the preview. You're kind of just, it's a full gamble. So if you're really only caring about enchantments, I wouldn't recommend this. I'd probably just keep the backpack's XP pickup off. But here's the one extremely good thing about this method. If you die with the backpack, it's gonna hold your essence. You won't lose all of your levels. So say you're freaking, you just got level 30, you're excited to enchant something and you die, you don't have to go through that when you're wearing the infinity backpack, because you just go pick up your backpack and the essence is still there. Okay, and the last thing about the infinity backpack is the biofuel effect. Biofuel is what affects this magnet ability. What the magnet ability does is makes it to where whatever you mine, you don't have to walk over to pick up, it'll just all funnel into you. Now obviously that's a pretty nice thing to have, except the amount of biofuel it consumes to have that running for an entire mining session is a lot. So depending on how much biofuel you have, if you have a ton of it, go ahead and use that. I leave it off. Okay, so that covers the infinity backpack. So now I'll demonstrate the trident for you guys, because I'm pretty sure there's also no information on the trident on the internet right now. So shift click, right click, and you get the menu. Same as the hammer, you have this area of effect, you have charging, and here's the amazing thing about the trident, is once you have it charged, you have higher tiers of loyalty and higher tiers of riptide. You obviously can't use them both, but you can pick which one you have, so you don't need to have multiple tridents Already that's awesome. And you also have channeling on or off whenever you want. Now that's already awesome, right? But the best part about this thing is, so we have Riptide, right? Riptide only works in the rain. It's not that useful unless it's raining. Think again, boys. Check this out. With the Infinity Trident, these enchantments work at all times, rain or shine, night or day. One other random thing that isn't mentioned in any of the books or online or whatever is randomly, this thing can mine at a decent speed. I would say it's about like iron speed. Okay, well, didn't want to show you guys that yet, but again, this thing is awesome. Channeling works, and as you can tell, it is not raining right now. Now I have a theory on why this thing might mine. The channeling effect, even though it works at all times, it doesn't need to be raining, it's still a little finicky, and I've got this theory that breaking blocks with this trident might actually charge the channeling effect. When I first made this thing, the first few things I hit with it didn't get struck by lightning. I don't know, maybe it's confirmation bias, but just break a couple things with it and your channeling should start working. I'm not 100% if that's how it works, but why else would this thing just randomly be able to chop trees down and dig dirt? I don't know. Anyway, there you go, guys. That is basically all the things I figured out about Industrial Foregoing and the Infinity tools. Hope this helps out a lot. It took me hours and hours to figure out those couple things that were weird about it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. And if there's a ton of them, maybe I'll make another video explaining more of the stuff. But thanks for the watch, and have a good one, guys.